I see three specific values in our context, in Afghanistan particularly, to diaspora advocacy. One is bridging. The second one of it is really about contextualizing. And third is about sustaining international attention. In terms of bridging, I really think one of the key roles and most responsible roles for diaspora is to bridge people on the ground, people on the front lines of activism, and also on the front lines of oppression, because they're being, threatened and intimidated and harassed, to policymakers in the countries where we are, in the countries where decisions and policy decisions are being made that may have implications for our homeland, for our people. So how can we have access? But activists on the ground may or may not have that access, and they may or may not be able to navigate the organization setups and the kind of foreign offices of various governments. So to what extent are we doing this bridging? To what extent, when we have an opportunity to speak to a policymaker, we are saying also, okay, I'm happy to share what I know, but I'd recommend, and I can put you in touch with people on the ground who can share their views directly from the situation on the ground, in a safe way, of course. But I think this bridging role is very, very important. And I do worry that sometimes we forget this, that the people, of course, our voices are very important, and we have things to say, and we have experience, and we care about our countries, our homelands. But it's really, really important that people who are on the ground are linked to these policy platforms, to UN Human Rights Council, to UN Security Council, to foreign ministers, etc. So I think that bridging role is very important. In terms of the contextualizing role, is a sort of translation role in a way, let's say, because we have to educate our audiences in the West about, but also in the region, if Afghans who are in the countries in the region, about the specific risks that activists face on the ground, the context in which they are operating, but also sort of translate the mechanisms, the institutions in these countries where we live to colleagues back home. And one example of that would be, if you convince a policymaker to listen to a group of activists from the ground, then you can help the activists prepare, in a sense, giving the context for where this policymaker comes from, what's her or his political background, the influence that this person has in their country, which kind of recommendations they might be most interested in. So that sort of translation, contextualizing role is, I think, very important, and we have an added value there because, when I was in Afghanistan, for instance, we were really focused on embassies, but since I have come and lived outside Afghanistan for the past over a year, I'm realizing the importance of parliaments and building relationships with parliaments. And I know that so this is knowledge that I can share with my fellow activists back home in terms of them trying to influence members of parliament here in different countries in the West. And the aspect, kind of the last aspect is sustaining international attention, because people on the ground are taking huge risk and they are really doing a lot. And thanks to social media, they are able to amplify some of that. But because they are not here, they don't have the opportunity to, in person attend events, in person seek appointments, in person engage media. It's harder for them to sustain international attention to the cause by themselves. So what's the role of diaspora in sustaining international attention? And they can use a variety of tools. The Toolkit also talks about this, from social media events to protests to, walkouts, other forms of activities, meetings, conferences, where the main purpose is to sustain international attention and engage an international audience on the situation in your own country. So I'll stop there. Thank you.